Chaucer's translation of Boethius's De Consolatione Philosophiae ******. This text includes characters that require UTF-8, Unicode, file encoding, OE ligature, yoke, H with bar, U with tilde, both rare. The side notes include a few Greek phrases, if any of these characters do not display properly, in particular, if the diacritic does not appear directly above the letter, or if the apostrophes and quotation marks in this paragraph appear as garbage, you may have an incompatible browser or unavailable fonts. First, make sure that the browser's character set or file encoding is set to Unicode, UTF-8. You may also need to change your browser's default font. Linonotes refer to the Cambridge MS. See end of introduction. H in the Linonotes is not explained. Skeet's edition of Chaucer's complete works says that it refers to MS Harley 2421. In the printed book, line numbers were squeezed in wherever there was room. For the e-text, they have been regularized to the EETS standard multiples of 4. Line divisions and page numbers were retained for use with the index and linonotes, except that some very short words have been moved up or down to avoid awkward gaps. Headnots have been moved to the nearest convenient line break. Italic thorn and yoke seem to have been unavailable to the printer. Both letters have been formatted to match the surrounding text. In the appendix, decorative final letters are shown with, or and as sprong plus, dar, and similar to approximate the look of the original. The inverted semicolon, rare, is shown as. In the primary text, anomalous spellings with initial U or non-initial V are not individually noted. Other errors, whether corrected or not, are shown in the text with mouse hover pop-ups. For this e-text, Chaucer's translation of the Consolatione is given twice, first as printed, with all notes and apparatus, and then as text alone. Introduction Index of First Lines Tabula Libri Boethius, Table of Contents, Chaucer's translation, with all notes, Appendix, Verse, Translation, Text only, Glossarial Index Early English Text Society Extra Series, No. 5 1868, reprinted 1889, 1894, 1895, etc., 1969, price 40s. Edited from British Museum Additional MS 10340 collated with Cambridge University Library MS 2.3.21 by Richard Morris, published for the Early English Text Society by the Oxford University Press, London, New York, Toronto. First published 1868, reprinted 1889, 1894, 1895, etc., and 1969 Extra Series, No. 5, originally printed by Richard Clay and Sons Limited, London and Bungay, and now reprinted lithographically in Great Britain at the University Press, Oxford by Vivian Riedler, printer to the University. Introduction. When master hands like those of Gibbon and Hallam have sketched the life of Boethius, it is well that no meaner man should attempt to mar their pictures. They drew, perhaps, the most touching scene in Middle Age literary history, the just man in prison, awaiting death, consoled by the philosophy that had been his light in life, and handing down to posterity for their comfort and strength the presence of her whose silver rays had been his guide as well under the stars of fortune as the murk of fate. With Milton in his dark days, Boece in prison could say, I argue not against heaven's hand or will, nor bate a jot of heart or hope, but still bear up and steer right onward. What supports me, dost thou ask? The conscience, friend, to have lost them over-plied in liberty's defence, my noble task, of which all Europe rings from side to side. For, indeed, the echoes of Boethius, rang out loud from every corner of European literature. An Alfred awoke them in England, a Chaucer, a Caxton would not let them die, an Elizabeth revived them among the glorious music of her reign. One to us, though far off, they come with a sweet sound. The angelic Thomas Aquinas commented on him, and many others followed the saint's steps. Dante read him, though, strange to say, he speaks of the Consolation as a book not known by many. Belgium had her translations, both Flemish 3 and French 4, Germany hers 5, France hers 6, Italy hers. 7 The Latin editors are too numerous to be catalogued here, and manuscripts abound in all our great libraries. No philosopher was so bone of the bone and flesh of the flesh of middle-age writers as Boethius. Take up what writer you will, and you find not only the sentiments, but the very words of the distinguished old Roman. And surely we who read him in Chaucer's tongue, will not refuse to say that his full-circling meed of glory was other than deserved. Nor can we marvel that at the end of our great poet's life, he was glad that he had swelled the chorus of Boethius' praise, and of the translation of Boece de Consolation thanked our Lord as Eucharist and his Moder, and all the saints in Hewen. The impression made by Boethius on Chaucer was evidently very deep. Not only did he translate him directly, as in the present work, but he read his beloved original over and over again, as witness the following list, incomplete of course, of passages from Chaucer's poems translated more or less literally from the De Consolation, I love. Wast thou not well the oldie clerks saw, that who skull yever lover any law, love is a greater law, by my pan, then maybe yev to, of, any earthly man. Knight's Tale, Aldine Series, Volume 2 p. 36, 37. But what is he at may you a law to Luares? Lu is a greater law and a stranger to himself and any law at men may ewen. Chaucer's Prose Translation, p. 108. Quis legem determantibus. Major lex amorist sibi. Beath, lib 3 met. 12, 2. A drunken man. A drunk man what well heeth and whose, but he not ate which the right we is thida. Knight's Tale, Volume 2 p. 39. Are whitey as a drunk man not nat 9 by which p he may return home to his house. Chaucer's Trans, p. 67. Sed volutibrius, demum quo tramite revertata, ignorat. Beath, lib 3 pr 2. 3. The Chain of Love. The first moevere of the cause above, when he first made the fair chainy of love, Gret was th'effect, and high was his entente, well wist he why, and what thereof he meant, for with that fair chainy of love he bond the fyr, the water, the and eke the lond in certain bounds, that they may not flee. Knight's Tale, p. 92. That world with stable fieth /varieth accordable shown ginges / at the contrarios qualite of element holden among himself aliones perdurable / at Phoebus the son with his golden chariot / bringeth forth the rose in day / at the moneth commandment than its / which nits Hesperus the EU Easter hat, H. Brout / at ese greedy to flowen constraineth with a certain NDI's floods / so at it is nat u full to streak shies broad terms or bounds VP on the earth is / at is to sane to QRL the earth / L this accordance of things is bounden with lu / at guenth earth and sea / and he also commandment to the hunes / and if this loose laked the bridleis / L things at now lu enhem to Judeas / wolden maken a batale continually and striuen to fordoon the fazoun of this world / the which they now leden in accordable fieth by fair moinges / this lu hold to gideres poepels / iowinute with an holy bond / and nith sacrament of marriages of chaste lus / and lu enditeth laws to true fee laws / o welliful where mankindy / if thilk lu at guenth hune guend yaur courages / Chaucer's Boethius, BK2 met. 8. Quod mundus stabilified concords variat vices, quod pugnantia semina foedus perpetuum tenent, quod Phoebus roseum diem curru pruvit oreo, ut quas ducrit Hesperus Phoebe noctibus impere, ut fluctus avidum me certo fine coercit, eni teres licet vagis latos tunt terminos. Han crerum seriem ligat, terras ac pelagus regions, it celo imperitans amor. Hic si franerum miserit, quicquid nunc amat in vicem, bellum continuo jet, it quam nunc socia fide pulchris motibus incitant, certant solve machinam. Hic sancto populos quoque junctos fodia continet, hic it conjugii sacrum castis nectit amoribus, hic fides etiam suadictat juris sodalibus. O felix hominum genus, si vestros animos amor, quo silum regitur, regat. Beath, lib 2 met. 8. Love, that of earth and seeth governance. Love, that his hest esseth in heaven high. Love, that within wholesomely owns hold peples joined, as hym list hem jai. Love, that kniteth law and company, and couples doth in virtue for to dwell. Troilus and Chrysid, St 243. Volume 4 p. 296. That the world with faith, which that is stable diverseth so, his stounds concordinge, that elements, that ben so discordable, holden a bond, perpetually duringe, that Phoebus mo his rosy cart forth bringe, and that the moneth lords chip over rear the knit, al this doth love. Here it be his myght. That that the se, that gredy is to flowen, constraineth to a certain end so eyes floats, that so fiercely they any growen to drench in earth and al for evermo, and if that love ought let his bridle go, al that now loveth asunder should lep, and lost were al that love hold now to kep. Ibid St 244, 245. For mutability directed and limited by an immutable and divine intelligence. That same princh and moevir eke, quod he, hath stabled, in this wretched world adown, certain days and duration to all that are engendered in this place, over the which day they may not pace, almo they yet well hear days abreg. Then may men well by this order discern that thilk moevir stable is and etern. And the four of his wisp of ounce he hath so well byset his ordinance, that spices of things and progressions scullen endure by successions and not etern be, without any lie. Knight's Tale, Volume 2 p. 92, 93. Engendringe of alinges quod she and ali progressions of movable nature. And al at mou in any mania take hys causes. Hys ordra. And hys forms. Of stableness of deu in out, and thilk deu in thou hoot, at is it and put in tour. At is to sain in hate of simplicite of God. Stabilize many mania jizzes to inges at ben to don. Chaucer's Boethius, BK 4 pr 6, p 134. The part is derived from the whole, the imperfect from the perfect. Well may men now, but it be a fool, that every part I deriveth from his whole. For nature hath not take his bygynnyng of no part any cantle of a thing, but of a thing that parfite is unstable, descending so, till it be corruptible. Knight's Tale, Volume 2 p. 92. For alling at is clept imperfect. Is proved imperfect by ominous of perfection. Or of ing at is perfect. And her of commit. At in ing general. If at men seen any ing at is imperfect. Certis in ilk general mo ben soming at is perfect. For if so be at perfection is don oi. Men may not ink nor see fro when zilking is at is clept imperfect. For nature of inges any token not her bygynnyng of inges ominous and imperfect. But it proceedi of ingus at ben al hul. And absolute. And descendi so down into outerest inges and into ingus empty and we out through it. But as I how showed a light tell her by forn. At ufer be a blissfulness at be frill and vain and imperfect. May no man doubt. At her nyssom blissfulness at is sad steadfast and perfect. BK 3 pr 10, p 89. Omninum quod imperfectum est dicita, id diminution perfecti imperfectum est probetta. Quo fit ut si in quo libe genere imperfectum quid es vidatur, in eo perfectum quo caliquid es necessit. Et nim perfection sublata, undeilad, quod imperfectum probetta, extiterit, any fingi quidem potest. Nec enim ab diminutis in consummatis natura rerum sepit exordium, sed ab integris absolutisque procedens in hic extrema at cefita dilabitur. Quod si, uti Paulo antemonstravimus, ist quadam boni fragilis imperfecta felicitas, esse liquam solidam perfectam non potest dubitari. Beath, lib 3 pr 10. 6. Gentility. For gentleness nys but renome of thin ancestors, for her high bound which is a strong thing to thy person. The WYF of Bath's Tale, Volume 2 p. 241. For if e name of gentilesse be referred to renown and cleanness of lineage, an is gentle name but a foreigning. Chaucer's Boethius, p. 78. Qua, nobilitas, si ad claritudinem referta, aliena estimated, Boethius, lib 3 pr 6. 7. Nero's cruelty. No tear out of his eyeing for that sight any cam, but said, a fair woman was sche. Great wonder is how that he could or might be demesman on her debut. The Monk's Tale, Volume 3 p. 217. Any no tear any wet his face, but he was so hard-hurted at he mit ben demesman or uge of higher debut. Chaucer's Boethius, p. 55. Or non tinctit lacrimis, sed es sensa extincti partuit decoris. Boethius, lib 2 met. 6, 8. Predestination and free will. In Troilus and Cressid we find the following long passage taken from Boethius, Book V Prose 2, 3. Book 4. St 134, Volume 4. p. 339. 1. Sin God saith everything, out of doubtance, and hem disponeth, through his ordinance, in higher merits sothly for to be, as they shall comen by predestain 136, 2. For som men sain if God saith al by foreign, any God may not deceived ben pard. Then moot it fallen, the men had it sworn, that pervianceth sain before to be, wherefore I see, that, from etern, if he hath wist by foreign our thought eke as our dd, we have no free choice, as these clerks read. 137, 3. For other doubt, nor other dd also, mit never rea ben, but switch as perviance, which may not ben deceived never rea mu, athfield by foreign, without an ignorance, for if there mit ben a variance, to writhen out fro God's purveying, there near no prescience of thing coming. 138, 4. But it were rather an opinion uncertain, and no steadfast for sange, and certs that were an abusion that God should han no perfect clarewittinge, more than we men, that han doubtious winninge, but switch an error upon God to guess were false, and foul, and wicked causedness. 139, 5. They sayn right thus, that thing is not to come, for that the prescience hath sayn by for that it shall come, but they sayn that the for that it shall come, the for the perviance woot it before, without an ignorance. 140, 6. And in this mania this necessite returneth in his part contrary again, for nedfully byoveth it not to be, that thilk thinges fallen in certain that ben pervade, but nedly, as they sayn, beoveth it that thinges, which that falle, that there in certain ben pervade al. 141, 7. I mean as though I labored me in this, to enquiren which thing cause of which thing be. 8. As, whether that the prescience of God is the certain cause of the necessite of things that to come and ben, part. Or, if necessite of things coming be cause certain of the purveying. 142, 9. But now nen force I mean at intuing how the order of causes stand, but well woot I that it be oveth that the bifalling of things, wist before certainly, be necessary, al seemit not the be that prescience put falling necessaire to things to come, al falle it foul or fair. 143, 10. For, if there sit a man yond on a seat, then by necessite be oveth it, that certs thyn opinion soth be, that whenest or conjectest that he sit, and, further over, now I would yet, lo right so is it on the part contrary, as thus, now hearken, for I will not tarry. 144, 11. I say, that if the opinion of the be soth for that he sit, then see I this, that he moot sitten by necessite, and thus necessite in either is, for in hym nid of sitting is, and in the nid of soth, and thus forceth the emo necessite ben in yau both. 145, 12. But thou mayst sayne, the man sit not the for, that thyn opinion of his sitting soth is, but rather, for the man sat thereby for, the for is thyn opinion soth, ywys, and I see, though the cause of soth of this cometh of his sitting, yet necessite is interchanged both in hym and the. 146, 13. Thus in the same wis, out of doubtance, I may well maken, as it seemeth me, my reasoning of God's purveyance, and of the things that to come and be. 147, 14. For although that four things shall come, ywys, the for it is pervade certainly, not that it cometh for it pervade is, yet, nathiels, be oveth it nedfully, that things to come be pervade truly, or else things that pervade be, that they be tidden by necessite. 148, 15. And this sufficeth right certain, for to destroy our each every del. 1. Quatem ille no cuncta prospiciens providentiae cernit intuitus, it sues quaric meritis praedestinata disponit. Boethius, lib vpr 2. 2. Nam si cuncta prospicit Deus nec foli allo modo potest, eve nia necessist, quod providentia futurum es previderit. Quaesi ab no non facta hominum modo, sed etiam consilia voluntates prenosit, nulla erit arbitrae libertas. 3. Nec enim vel factum aliudulum vel qualibit exist poterit voluntas, nisi quam nescia foli providentia divina praesenserit. Nam si res aliasum, quam provisi sunt ditacae valent, non jam erit futuri firma praescientia, for, sed opinio potius incerta, quod de deonifas crederia judico. 5. Ariant enim non ideo quid esse venturum quinium id providentia futurum es prospegerit, sed e contrario potius, quiniam quid futuram est, id divinum providentium lateria non possit. 6. Ioc modo necessarium est hoc in contrarium relabi partem, nec enim necessist continc qua providenter, sed necessist qua futura sunt provideri. 7. Quasi vero qua cujus crii causa sit. 8. Praescientiam futurarum necessitatis and futurarum necessitas providentiae, laborita. 9. At numbers illa demonstranitama, quo modo sis habet ordo causarum, necessarium esse eventum praeciterum rerum, etiam si praescientia futuris rebus eveni and necessitatem non vidatur in fe. 10. Etnim saequipium sedit, opinionem quaem sedia conjectat veram es necessist, at e converso versus. 11. Sida quopium vera sit opinio quinium sedetium sedia necess estimated. In atrocigita necessitas inist, in hoc quidem sedendi, at vero in ultro veritatis. 12. Sed non id seco quisque sedet, quinium vera ist opinio, sed hic potius vera ist, quinium quempium sedia praesusit. Ita cum causa veritatis ex ultra parti procedat, in ist tamen communis in atrac necessitas. 13. Similia de providentia futuris cribus ratiocinari patet. 14. Nam etiam side seco, quinium futura sunt, providenter, non vero ideo, quinium providenter, eveniant, nihilo minus tamen ideo vel ventura provideri, vel provisa evenia necessist. 15. Quod ad perimendum arbitrae libertatem solum satis estimated, lib vpr 3. See Chaucer's Boethius, pp. 154-69. The grief of remembering bygone happiness. 4. Of fortune's scarp adversite, the worst kind of infortune is this, a man to han been in prosperite, and it remembern, when it past is. Troilus and Chrysid, BK 3 St 226, Volume 4 p. 291. Sed hoc est, quod recolentum me vehementius cocit. Nam in omni adversitate fortunae infelicissimum genesist infortunii, fuis felicem. 10. Boethius, lib 2 pr 4. Ex vultures tear the stomach of Titius in hell. Sisyphus in hell, whose stomach fouls tyran evemo, that heighten vultures. Troilus and Chrysid, Book Ist 113, p. 140. E foul at hyt volta at eti stomach or e geyser of Tisius. Chaucer's Boethius, p. 107. 11. The mutability of fortune. For if higher fortunes, whilst in anything to torn than sest she fortuna non to be. Troilus and Chrysid, BKIST 122, p. 142. If fortune bygone to dwell stable, she sist, and to ben fortune. Chaucer's Boethius, p. 32. Compare stanzas 120, 121, p. 142, and stanza 136, p. 146, of Troilus and Chrysid with pp 31, 33, 35, and p. 34 of Chaucer's Boethius. At omnium mortalium stolidissime, simania incipit, force est desistit. Boethius, lib 2 prose 1. 12 Worldly slyness. Immodled is with many a bitterness. Full anguishes than is, God woot, quod she, condition of vain prosperite. For oy the joys come and naught ye fair, or else no whiteth hem all we hear. Troilus and Chrysid, BK 3 St 110, p. 258. Sweetness of man's wellifulness is yspranid we many, bitternesses. Chaucer's Boethius, p. 42, full anguish oozing is condition of man's goods. For ire it come el to gydra to a wyt. Or is it last not perpetually. Ib p. 41. Quam multis amoricudinibus humani felicitatis dulcido respicer est. Boethius, lib 2 prose 4. Anxia enim resist humanorum conditio bonorum, it qua vel nunquam tota proveniat, vel nunquam perpetua subsistat. Ib. O, britell well of man's joy unstable. With what white so thou be, or how thou plea, either he woot that thou joy art mwable, or woot it naught, it mo ben on of twain. Now if he woot it not, how may he sien that he hath vera joy and slyness, that is of ignorance in distress? Now if he woot that joy is transitory, as every joy of worldly things mo fle, then every time he that hath in memory, the dread of leasing maketh hym that he may in no parfite slyness be, and if to less his joy, he set not a mit, then semeth it, that joy is worthful light. Troilus and Chrysid, BK 3 St 111, 112, Volume 4 p. 258. 1. What man at is tumbling wellifulness leady, ire he woot at, it, is shongeable. Or else he woot it not. And if he woot it not, what blissful fortune may be in blindness of ignorance? 2. And if he woot at it is shongeable, he mo alwe benedrad at he any less atting. At he any doubt not but at he may lessen it. For which he continual dread at he har any suffry hym not to ben welliful. Or else if he lease it he win, to be despised and fall eaten hit. Certis eke at is a full light hell good at is born we un hurt, when it is loosed. Chaucer's Boethius, pp 43, 44. 1. Cum caduca ista felicitas vahit, vel sit vel nescit es mutabilum. Si nescit, quaranam vita sors es potist ignorantiae incessitate. 2. Si sit, mutuate necessist, eni imitat, quod amiti possi non dubitat, quer continuus time non sinit es felicem. An vel si amiserit, negligendum putat. Sic quoque per exile bonum ist, quodiquo animo feratur amissum. Boethius, lib 2 prose 4. 13 Fortune. Fortune that semeth truest when she will beguile. And, when a wight is from higher while throw, then laugheth she, and maketh hym the mo. Troilus and Chrysid, BK 3 St 254, Volume 4 p. 299. She, fortune, vs evil flattering familiarity hemat she enforced to beguile. Chaucer's Boethius, p. 30. She low and scorny weapon of hemi which she harm maked wep we her free will. Eufata wit is sane welliful and duero in an hour. Ib p. 33. In Book V, stanza 260, volume VP 75, Chaucer describes how the soul of Hector, after his death, ascended up to the holofness of the seventh spere. In so doing he seems to have had before him met 1. Book 4, of Boethius, where the soul is described as passing into the heaven's utmost sphere, and looking down on the world below. See Chaucer's Boethius, p. 110, 111. Aetas prima is of course a metrical version of lib. 2 Met. 5 Hampole speaks of the wonderful sight of the lynx. Perhaps he was indebted to Boethius for the hint. See Boethius, Book 3, pr 8, p. 81. I have seen the following elsewhere. 1. Value not beauty, for it may be destroyed by a 3 days' fever. See Chaucer's Boethius, p. 81. 2. There is no greater plague than the enmity of thy familiar friend. See Chaucer's translation, p. 77. Chaucer did not English Boethius second hand, through any early French version, as some have supposed, but made his translation with the Latin original before him. Jean Deming's version, the only early French translation, perhaps, accessible to Chaucer, is not always literal, while the present translation is seldom free or periphrastic, but conforms closely to the Latin, and is at times awkwardly literal. A few passages, taken haphazard, will make this sufficiently clear. Id dola etatem jusit ines swam. And Sora ha commanded his age to be in me, p4. It ma dula commander aviales entera en moi /ains qn fust horsianes. Mors hominum felix, quar senec dulspus annis inserit, id maestus sep vocata venit. Ilk die of men is well full at any come not in ires at ben sweat, I miry. But come to wretches often euglepid. p4, ondit la mort des homes istri reuse qui enivient pas en saison plantures mais des tristes mold suent appelli ly fuit new /seshit pili. Querimonum lacrimabilum. Wepli complaint, p5. Father ma complaint moi es muant applause. Styli officio. We office of Pointel, p5. Father, qui reduis, par escript. Inexhaustus. Switch at it nemyt, not be emptied, p5. Father inconsumptible. Senecas meretriculars. Commune strumpetis of sich a place at men clepani theatre, p6. Father sis rebordals fardes. Praecipiti profundu. Inuarowing depnes, p7. L. As q la pensi de l'homist troubli it plongi commi en abysm precipiti sapra prolumiere gasti. Nec pavetusta nec inslibri. Neua old en even solemn, p. 11. Father desques la memoire n'est pas trop ancien anno u non reciti. Inter secreta otia. Among my secret resting whiles, p. 14. Father enter mis secrets et oises estudes. Palatini canes. E houndis of e palais, p. 15. Father Lesgians du palais. Masculi prolis. Avi masculine children, p. 37. Father de Tarligny masculine. Ad singularem felicitatis tuo cumulum venire delectat. It delight me to come and now to e singular vaping of I wellifulness, p. 37. Father ilmi plat venir or singulia munso de ta felicite. Consular Imperium. Imperii of Consulars, p. 51. Father l'Empire Consulaire. Hoc ipsum brevis habitaculi. Avilt light el habitacle, p. 57. Father desist trespetti habitacle. Late patents plagas. E broad shewing contras, p. 60. Cuvicanx tender gloria venit la quatistra suurine voiles regions patents ducial. Eludens hominum cura. E playing basins of men, p. 68. Siquil tolist par duels estude des homs la solicitude. Hausi coelum. I took hewn, p. 10. Father ie regardi lucial. Certum adversum prefectum praetor tu communis commodi ration sepi. I took strifines e pruost of e praetори for commune profit, p. 15. Father ie entrepris l'estrife l'encontre du prefect du parlement royal a cause de la commune v delight. At cujus criminis arguimus summam quaris. But axist ou in somme of what guilt I am accused. p. 17. Father mis demands tu la somme du peci ducal peci naus sommes argues. Fortuitate meritate. By fortunus fortune, p. 26. Father par fortute foli. Quos premunt subtum gelidi trians. Ali peoples at benvenda e cold stars at heighten e soon trians, p. 55. Father Ceul exter septentrion. Ita ego quoque tibi veluti corollarum dabo. Ryt so will iuee here as a corollary or a meed of corown, p. 91. Father semblablement ie te donere ein cqvng corollaire. In stadio. In e stadio or in e phalange, p. 119. Father ou, for or, champ. Conjecto. I conject, p. 154. Father ie conjecture. Nimium adversariae si repugna avidta. It seemed to repugnin and to contrarian greatly. Father ce semble chose trope contrarit repugnant. Universitatis ambitium. Enviroun inge vive nuisite, p. 165. Father lauironement de l'unua salite. Rationis universum. Vnuisite of resound, p. 165. Father l'unua salite de raison. Scientiam nunquam deficientis instantiae rectia systemabis. O you shalt demand it, more rightfully at it is science of presence or of instance at noia ne fail. P 174. Father mis tu lauderas plus droitamentit mieulx science de instant presentialite non iame defalent mis eternel. Many of the above examples are very bald renderings of the original, and are only quoted here to show that Chaucer did not make his translation from the French. Chaucer is not always felicitous in his translations, thus he translates Clavis at Gubernaculum by Key and Astier, p. 103, and Compendium, gain, acquisition, by abridging, curtailment, p. 151. Many terms make their appearance in English for the first time, and most of them have become naturalized, and are such as we could ill spare. Some few are rather uncommon, as gubernail, gubernaculum, p. 27, arbiter, arbitrium, p. 154. As Chaucer takes the trouble to explain inestimable, inestimabilis, p. 158, it could not have been a very familiar term. Our translator evidently took note of various readings, for on p. 31 he notes a variation of the original. On p. 51 he uses armorers, equals armors, to render armor, though most copies agree in reading arva. There are numerous glosses and explanations of particular passages, which seem to be interpolated by Chaucer himself. Thus he explains what is meant by the heritage of Socrates, p. 10, 11, he gives the meaning of coimption, p. 15, of Euripus, p. 33, of the porch, p. 166. 11 Some of his definitions are very quaint, as, for instance, that of tragedy, a dite of a prosperite for a time attendi in reachedness, p. 35. One would think that the following definition of tragedian would be rather superfluous after this. A maker of dits at heighten, are called tragedies, p. 77. Mellifluae oris Homerus is thus quaintly Englished, Homerui honimu, at is to sane. Homerui sweatdits, p. 153. The present translation of the De Consolation is taken from additional MS 10340, which is supposed to be the oldest manuscript that exists in our public libraries. After it was all copied out and ready for press, Mr. Bradshaw was kind enough to procure me, for the purpose of collation, the loan of the Cam. University MS2. 321, from which the various readings at the foot of the pages are taken. Had I had an opportunity of examining the Cambridge MS carefully throughout before the work was so far advanced, I should certainly have selected it in preference to the text now given to the reader. Though not so ancient as the British Museum MS, it is far more correct in its grammatical inflections, and is no doubt a copy of an older and very accurate text. The additional MS is written by a scribe who was unacquainted with the force of the final E. Thus he adds it to the preterites of strong verbs, which do not require it. He omits it in the preterites of weak verbs where it is wanted, and attaches it to passive participles, of weak verbs, where it is superfluous. The scribe of the Cambridge MS is careful to preserve the final E where it is a sign, 1. Of the definite declension of the adjective, 2. Of the plural adjective, 3. Of the infinitive mood, 4. Of the pretreat of weak verbs, 5. Of present participles, 12. 6. Of the second pers. Prit. Indic. Of strong verbs, 7. Of adverbs, 8. Of an older vowel ending. The addit. MS has frequently thealc, singular and plural, and nes, in recheedens, and c, when the came. MS has thilc 13 and nes. For further differences the reader may consult the numerous collations at the foot of the page. If the Chaucer Society obtains that amount of patronage from the literary public which it deserves, but unfortunately has yet not succeeded in getting, so that it may be enabled to go on with the great work which has been so successfully commenced, then the time may come when I shall have the opportunity of editing the Came. MS of Chaucer's Boethius for that society, and lovers of early English literature will have 2 texts instead of 1. 1 other translations are by John Walton of Osney, in verse, in 1410, Reg. MS 18, a 13, first printed at Tavistock in 1525, and to be edited some time or other for the EETS. An anonymous prose version in the Bodleian. George Carlyle, alias Coldewell, 1556, JT 1609, H. Coningesby, 1664, Lord Preston, 1695, 1712, W. Coston, 1730, Redpath, 1785, R. Duncan, 1789, Anon. 1792, Loans. 2 Dante, in his Convito, says, "Misimi allega quello non conosciuto the multilibro di Ibazio, nel quale captivo e discacciato consolato e Sevilla." 3 printed at Ghent, 1485. 4 by Rainier de Saint Trudon, printed at Bruges, 1477. 5 an old version of the 11th cent, printed by Graf, and a modern one printed at Nuremberg, 1473. 6 by Jean de Meung, printed at Paris, 1494. 7 by Varchi, printed at Florence, 1551, Parma, 1798. 8 the Harl. MS reads not nat, to the confusion of the meter. 9 equals any what nat equals knows not. 10 compare Dante, Inferno, v 121. Nessun magia dolce ricordassi del tempo felice nella miseria, ecio sa el tio. 11 see pages 39, 50, 61, 94, 111, 133, 149, 153, 159. 12 in the Canterbury Tales we find participles in ynge. 13. It is nearly always thilke in the Canterbury Tales. Appendix to Introduction. The last of the ancients, and one who forms a link between the classical period of literature and that of the Middle Ages, in which he was a favorite author, is Boethius, a man of fine genius, and interesting both from his character and his death. It is well known that after filling the dignities of consul and senator in the court of Theodoric, he fell a victim to the jealousy of a sovereign, from whose memory, in many respects glorious, the stain of that blood has never been effaced. The Consolation Philosophiae, the chief work of Boethius, was written in his prison. Few books are more striking from the circumstances of their production. Last of the classic writers, in style not impure, though displaying too lavishly that poetic exuberance which had distinguished the 2 or 3 preceding centuries, in elevation of sentiment equal to any of the philosophers, and mingling a Christian sanctity with their lessons, he speaks from his prison in the swan-like tones of dying eloquence. The philosophy that consoled him in bonds, was soon required in the sufferings of a cruel death. Quenched in his blood, the lamp he had trimmed with a skilful hand gave no more light, the language of Tully and Virgil soon ceased to be spoken, and many ages were to pass away, before learned diligence restored its purity, and the union of genius with imitation taught a few modern writers to surpass in eloquence the Latinity of Boethius. Hallam's Literature of Europe, I2, 4th ed. 1854. The Senator Boethius is the last of the Romans whom Cato or Tully could have acknowledged for their countrymen. As a wealthy orphan, he inherited the patrimony and honors of the Anician family, a name ambitiously assumed by the kings and emperors of the age, and the appellation of Manlius asserted his genuine or fabulous descent from a race of consuls and dictators, who had repulsed the Gauls from the capital, and sacrificed their sons to the discipline of the Republic. In the youth of Boethius the studies of Rome were not totally abandoned, a Virgil is now extant, corrected by the hand of a consul, and the professors of grammar, rhetoric, and jurisprudence, were maintained in their privileges and pensions by the liberality of the Goths. But the erudition of the Latin language was insufficient to satiate his ardent curiosity, and Boethius is said to have employed 18 laborious years in the schools of Athens, which were supported by the zeal, the learning, and the diligence of Proclus and his disciples. The reason and piety of their Roman pupil were fortunately saved from the contagion of mystery and magic, which polluted the groves of the academy, but he imbibed the spirit, and imitated the method, of his dead and living masters, who attempted to reconcile the strong and subtle sense of Aristotle with the devout contemplation and sublime fancy of Plato. After his return to Rome, and his marriage with the daughter of his friend, the patrician Symmachus, Boethius still continued, in a palace of ivory and glass, to prosecute the same studies. The Church was edified by his profound defense of the Orthodox Creed against the Arian, the Eutychian, and the Nestorian heresies, and the Catholic unity was explained or exposed in a formal treatise by the indifference of 3 distinct though consubstantial persons. For the benefit of his Latin readers, his genius submitted to teach the first elements of the arts and sciences of Greece. the geometry of Euclid, the music of Pythagoras, the arithmetic of Nicomacheus, the mechanics of Archimedes, the astronomy of Ptolemy, the theology of Plato, and the logic of Aristotle, with the commentary of Porphyry, were translated and illustrated by the indefatigable pen of the Roman senator. And he alone was esteemed capable of describing the wonders of art, a sundial, a water clock, or a sphere which represented the motions of the planets. From these abstruse speculations, Boethius stooped, or, to speak more truly, he rose to the social duties of public and private life. The indigent were relieved by his liberality, and his eloquence, which flattery might compare to the voice of Demosthenes or Cicero, was uniformly exerted in the cause of innocence and humanity. Such conspicuous merit was felt and rewarded by a discerning prince. The dignity of Boethius was adorned with the titles of consul and patrician, and his talents were usefully employed in the important station of master of the offices. Notwithstanding the equal claims of the East and West, his two sons were created, in their tender youth, the consuls of the same year. On the memorable day of their inauguration, they proceeded in solemn pomp from their palace to the forum amidst the applause of the Senate and people, and their joyful father, the true consul of Rome, after pronouncing an oration in the praise of his royal benefactor, distributed a triumphal largesse in the games of the circus. Prosperous in his fame and fortunes, in his public honors and private alliances, in the cultivation of science and the consciousness of virtue, Boethius might have been styled happy, if that precarious epithet could be safely applied before the last term of the life of man. A philosopher, liberal of his wealth and parsimonious of his time, might be insensible to the common allurements of ambition, the thirst of gold and employment. And some credit may be due to the asseveration of Boethius, that he had reluctantly obeyed the divine Plato, who enjoins every virtuous citizen to rescue the state from the usurpation of vice and ignorance. For the integrity of his public conduct he appeals to the memory of his country. His authority had restrained the pride and oppression of the royal officers, and his eloquence had delivered Paulinus from the dogs of the palace. He had always pitied, and often relieved, the distress of the provincials, whose fortunes were exhausted by public and private rapine, and Boethius alone had courage to oppose the tyranny of the barbarians, elated by conquest, excited by avarice, and, as he complains, encouraged by impunity. In these honorable contests his spirit soared above the consideration of danger, and perhaps of prudence, and we may learn from the example of Cato, that a character of pure and inflexible virtue is the most apt to be misled by prejudice, to be heated by enthusiasm, and to confound private enmities with public justice. The disciple of Plato might exaggerate the infirmities of nature, and the imperfections of society, and the mildest form of a Gothic kingdom, even the weight of allegiance and gratitude, must be insupportable to the free spirit of a Roman patriot. But the favor and fidelity of Boethius declined in just proportion with the public happiness, and an unworthy colleague was imposed to divide and control the power of the master of the offices. In the last gloomy season of Theodoric, he indignantly felt that he was a slave, but as his master had only power over his life, he stood without arms and without fear against the face of an angry barbarian, who had been provoked to believe that the safety of the Senate was incompatible with his own. The senator Albinus was accused and already convicted on the presumption of hoping, as it was said, the liberty of Rome. "If Albinus be criminal," exclaimed the orator, "the Senate and myself are all guilty of the same crime. If we are innocent, Albinus is equally entitled to the protection of the laws." These laws might not have punished the simple and barren wish of an unattainable blessing, but they would have shown less indulgence to the rash confession of Boethius, that, had he known of a conspiracy, the tyrant never should. The advocate of Albinus was soon involved in the danger and perhaps the guilt of his client. Their signature, which they denied as a forgery, was affixed to the original address, inviting the emperor to deliver Italy from the Goths, and 3 witnesses of honorable rank, perhaps of infamous reputation, attested the treasonable designs of the Roman patrician. Yet his innocence must be presumed, since he was deprived by Theodoric of the means of justification, and rigorously confined in the Tower of Pavia, while the Senate, at the distance of 500 miles, pronounced a sentence of confiscation and death against the most illustrious of its members. At the command of the barbarians, the occult science of a philosopher was stigmatized with the names of sacrilege and magic. A devout and dutiful attachment to the Senate was condemned as criminal by the trembling voices of the senators themselves, and their ingratitude deserved the wish or prediction of Boethius, that, after him, none should be found guilty of the same offense. While Boethius, oppressed with fetters, expected each moment the sentence or the stroke of death, he composed in the Tower of Pavia the Consolatione Philosophiae, a golden volume not unworthy of the leisure of Plato or Tully, but which claims incomparable merit from the barbarism of the times and the situation of the author. The celestial guide, whom he had so long invoked at Rome and Athens, now condescended to illumine his dungeon, to revive his courage, and to pour into his wounds her salutary balm. She taught him to compare his long prosperity and his recent distress, and to conceive new hopes from the inconstancy of fortune. Reason had informed him of the precarious condition of her gifts, experience had satisfied him of their real value, he had enjoyed them without guilt, he might resign them without a sigh, and calmly disdain the impotent malice of his enemies, who had left him happiness, since they had left him virtue. From the earth, Boethius ascended to heaven in search of the supreme good, explored the metaphysical labyrinth of chance and destiny, of prescience and free will, of time and eternity, and generously attempted to reconcile the perfect attributes of the deity with the apparent disorders of his moral and physical government. Such topics of consolation, so obvious, so vague, or so abstruse, are ineffectual to subdue the feelings of human nature. Yet the sense of misfortune may be diverted by the labor of thought, and the sage who could artfully combine in the same work the various riches of philosophy, poetry, and eloquence, must already have possessed the intrepid calmness which he affected to seek. Suspense, the worst of evils, was at length determined by the ministers of death, who executed, and perhaps exceeded, the inhuman mandate of Theodoric. A strong cord was fastened round the head of Boethius, and forcibly tightened till his eyes almost started from their sockets, and some mercy may be discovered in the milder torture of beating him with clubs till he expired. But his genius survived to diffuse a ray of knowledge over the darkest ages of the Latin world. The writings of the philosopher were translated by the most glorious of the English kings, and the third emperor of the name of Utho removed to a more honorable tomb the bones of a Catholic saint, who, from his Arian persecutors, had acquired the honors of martyrdom and the fame of miracles. In the last hours of Boethius, he derived some comfort from the safety of his 2 sons, of his wife, and of his father-in-law, the venerable Symmachus. But the grief of Symmachus was indiscreet, and perhaps disrespectful. He had presumed to lament, he might dare to revenge, the death of an injured friend. He was dragged in chains from Rome to the palace of Ravenna, and the suspicions of Theodoric could only be appeased by the blood of an innocent and aged senator. Gibbon's Decline and Fall, 1838, Volume 7. p. 45–52, without the notes. Index, giving the first line of each meter, the first words of each prose, and the corresponding page of the translation. Book meter prose page I1, Carmina qui quindam studio florent peregi 4, 1 hic dum mecum tacitus ips reputa M52, Hugh, quam praecipiti mersa profundu 7, 2 sed medicina, inquit, potius tempus ist 8-3, tunc me discussa liquerunt noct tenebrae 9, 3 horda lita tristici nebulis dissolutis, horsi coelum 10-4, quisquis composito serenus evo 12, 4 centis, inquit, hic, at canimo illabuntatio. 13-5. O stelliferi condita orbis 21, 5 hic ubi continuato dolor de la travi 23-6, cum fabi radius grave 25, 6 primum agita paterisn me porcullis rogationibus 26-7, nubibus atris 29-2, 1 postique paulisper abdicit 29-1. Hic cum superba verterit vices dextra 33, 2 velim autem porca tecum fortunae ipsius 33-2, si quantas rapidis flatibus incitus 35, 3 his agita si pro se tecum fortuna loquerita 36-3, cum polophbus rosis quadregis 39, 4 tumigo, vera, inquam commemoras 39-4, quisquis volet perennium 44, 5 sed quinium rationum jamintermirum fermenta 45-5, felix nimium prior etas 50, 6 quid autem de dignitatibus, potentiac disseram 51-6, novimus quantas diderit ruinus 55, 7 tumigo, sis, inquam, ipsa 56-7, quicum xolum ment praecipiti peti 60, 8 sed enemi inexorabile contra fortunam 61-8, quod mundus stabili fide 62-3, 1 jam cantamilla finirat 63-1, qui sereria ingenuum volet agram 64, 2 tum defuxo porlulum visu. 64-2, quantas rerum flectat habnas 68, 3 vos quoque, oterina animalia 69-3, quam vis fluent dives or rigurgite 71, for sed dignitates honorabilum reverendum 72 4, quam vis esse tyrio superbus ostro 74, 5 and vero regna regumque familiaritas officeria potentum valent 75 5, qui esse volet es potentum 77, 6 gloria vero quam fallax sep, quam turpis ist 77 6, omne hominum genus in terris 78, 7 quid autem de corporis voluptatibus loqua 79 7, habet omnis hoc voluptas 80, 8 nihil agita dubium ist, quin 88, AU, quam miserus tramite devio 81, 9 hac tenus mendicis formam felicitatis ostendis 82 9, o qui perpetua mundum ration gubinus 87, 10 quinium agita qua sit imperfecti 88 10, hac omnes parita venite capti 94, 11 essentia, in quam 95 11, quisquis profundament vestigat verum 100, 12 tum ego, Platoni, in quam vehementer essentia 101 12, Felix qui partuit boni 106 4, 1 hic cum philosophia, dignitate 108 1, sunt etnim penni volucas mei 110, 2 tum ego, papi, in quam, ut magna promitis 112 2, quos vides sedia celso 118, 3 vides nigita quanto in cono pro bra volventa 119 3, Velanaritii juicis 122, 4 tum ego, fata, in quam, nec injuria disi video 123 4, quid tantos javatic cita motus 130, 5 hic ego, video, in quam, quasit vel felicitas 131 5. Psyches archericida nescit 132, 6 ita ist, in quam 133 6, Civis celsi juratonantis 143, 7 jamnigita vides, quid hic omnia qua diximus, consequita 144 7. Bella bis quinis operatus annis 147 v. 1 digerat, orationis cursum ad alia quadam 149 1, rupis acemani scapules, ub versa sequentum 151, 2 animadvertu, in quam, id qt 2 dicis, itas consentio 152 2, puro clarum lumen fbum 153, 3 tum ego, en, in quam, difficiliori rursus ambiguitate confunda 154 3, quaranam discus foedra rerum 159, 4 tumilla, vetus, inquit. Hic est de providentia querula 161 4, quindam porticus atulit 166, 5 quod si in corporibus sentiendis, quam vis 168 5, quam veritas terras animalia perment figuris 170, 6 quinium agita. Ut Paulo antimonstratum ist 171 appendix. Etas prima 180 ballads de village sans peinture 182. Table of contents. I. incipit tabula libri Boise Ida Consolatione Philosophiae. Additional MS 10340, Fol. 3. Fol. 3. Liber Primus. 1 Carmina qui quindam studio florent peregi. 2 Hic dum mecum tacitus. 3 Hu quam precipiti. 4 Set medicine in quid tempus. 5 Tunc me discussa. 1 Ms Hanc. 6 Hort 1 Alita tristitia. 7 Quisquis composito. 8 Sentis eni inquit. 9 O stelliferi condita orbis. 10 Hic ubi continuato dolor. 11 Cum febi radiges. 12 Primum igita pateris rogationibus. 13 Nubibus atris candida. Explicit liber primus. Liber secundus. 2 Ms lupa. 1 Post e Paulispa 2 Conticit. 2 Hec cum superba. 3 Ulim autem porca. 4 Si quantas rapidis. 5 His agita siet pro se. 6 Cum primo polo. 7 Tunc ego ura in quam. 8 Contric. 9 Quisquis ali pehenem cantus. 10 Set cum rationem iam inter. 11 Felix in mairum iam prior eaters. 12 Quid autem de dignitatibus. 13 Nuimus quantos diderat. 14 Tum ego sis in quam. 15 Quicunc solum ment. 16 Set enemi inexorabile. 17 Quod mundus stabile fide. Explicit liber secundus. Liber tertius. 1 I am tantum illa. 2 Qui sereria ingenium. 3 Tunc defuxo paululum. 4 Quantas rerum flectat. 5 Uos quoque terrena animalia. 6 Quamuis fluenta dius. 7 Set dignitatibus. 8 Quamuis esse tirio. 9 Anura regna. 10 Qui seu ali es potentum. 11 Gloria uro quam phalanx. 12 Omne hominum genus in terris. 13 Quid autem de corporibus. 14 Habet hoc voluptas. 15 Nihil agita dubium estimated. 16 Hu q miserus tramite. 17 Hac tenus mendatio formam. 18 O qui perpetua. 19 Quinium agita qui sit. 20 Nunc omnes parita. 21 Ascension quam cuncta. 22 Quisque profunda. 23 Tunc ego Platoni in quam. 24 Felix qui poterit. Explicit liber tertius. Liber quartus. 1 Hec cum Philosophia. 2 Sunt etnim pen. 3 Tunc ego pape in quam. 4 Quos uds sedia celsos. 5 Uds eni agita quanto. 6 Lana risig juicis. 7 Tunc ego fata in quam. 8 Quid tantos iuvat. 9 Huic ego udeo in quam. 3 Ms arituri. 10 Psyches archery 3 Sidra. 11 Ita ist in quam. 12 Sci uis celsi iora. 13 I am any agita udes. 14 bella bis quinis. Explicit liber quartus. Incipit liber quintus. 1 digeret orationis q cursum. 2 rupis ecumeni. 3 animagua tu in quam. 4 puro clarum lumen. 5 tamen ego en in quam. 6 q nam discus. 7 tamen illa yetus. 8 quindam porticus atulit. 9 quod si in corporibus. 10 quam veriges figuris. 11 quinium agita uti Paulo anti. Explicit liber quintus et ultimus. Boethius deplores his misfortunes. Asterisk liber primus. Asterisk fol 3b dot. The first matter dot. Incipit liber Boethiae de Consolatione Philosophiae. Carmina qui quindam studio florent perigi. Alas I weapon Boethius deplores his misfortunes in the following pathetic elegy. Am constrained to bygynvers of sorrowful materia. At whilom in florisking study made delectable dites. For lu rendine muses of poets endite into me inges to be writen. And dreary forvers of recchedens witten my face with array tellers. At illa ist no dread nemyt, ua come o muses. At eine were in philors and full weeden my wee. At is to sane when I was exiled. Ye ballage antithesis I at were in glory of eight my youth whilom welliful and green comforten now sorrowful words of me oldie man. Laments his immature old age. For elders comen van war leave born me haste by harms at I how. And sore ha commanded his age to be in me. He is 12 ho ben should do a time like born min hewed. And slack, skyn tremble born myn empty body. Death turns a deaf ear to the wretched. Ilk, D of men is well full at any come not in ires at ben sweat, I miry, but come to wretches often 16 euglepid. 1 of, ms of. 2 florisking, florisinge 3 rendinge 4b, ben 5 recchedens, recchednus tellers 6 least myt, ua come, mit come and 8 sane 1 9 youth, ms ot, see youth 10 sorrowful words, sorrowful weirds, I fata, 12 sora, sorweha, ms hebe, ben 13 ho, hu ben, onmin, myn 14 slack, slake born, of empty, emptied ilk, thilk 15 welliful come not, conthnat 16 I miry, omitted alas we how definir de cruel turn ori fro wretches and nigh. To closen weapon eyeing. When fortune was favorable death came near Boethius, while fortune vnfeful foured, me 20 we light goods. S temporals, sorrowful lauratis to say need had, almost drained min hewed. But in his adversity life is unpleasantly protracted. But now for fortune cloudy ha shoned her deceivable chere to me ward. Myn vnpitus lig draw 24 along vnagreeable dwellinges in me. Why did his friends call him happy? He stood not firm that hath thus fallen. My friend is what or who to or wanted, me to be wellerful, for he at ha fallen stood not in steadfast degree. 19 Tunith nigh, natith weapinge 20 while forward, forward 21 light s temporals, omitted sorrowful hour 22 sane had emin, myn 23 ha, ms he shonged her deceivable, shonged higher deceivable 24 vnpitus lijf, vnpietus lyf philosophy appears to Boethius. The first prose. Hic dum mecum tacitus. In even while philosophy appears to Boethius, like a beautiful woman, and of great age. At I still recorded, Isinges 28 we myself. And marked my weply complaint we office of Pointel. I saw stonding about hate of my hued a woman of full great ruorance by semblant her eng brenning and clare senua commune 32 myt of men. We allege fly colour and we switch vigor and strength at it any myt, not be tide. Al were it so at sche was full of so great age. At men any wold not trow in no mania at sche were of our 36 eld. Her height could not be determined, for there were times when she raised her head higher than the heavens. Stature of her was of a doubtous judgment. For some time sche constrained, and shrunk her saloon like to commune measure of men. And sometime it seemed, at sche touched, hewn we hate 40 of her hewed. And when sche hef her hewed hair sche pierced, salu hewn. So at esyt of men loking was inudal. Her clothes were finely wrought and indissoluble, but dark and dusky, like old besmoked images. Her clothes were enmaked of white-edily reeds and subtle craft of perdurable materia. Which 44 clothes sche had won we her own hands, as I knew well after by herself, declaring and skewing to me beaut. Which clothes a Durkins of a forletten and despised eld had, dusked and dirked as 48 it is wont to dirken by smoked images. On the lower hem of her garment was the letter pi and on the upper theta in nearest, hem or border of clothes men redden in switch a grecisc. P at signify lig factif. And aboun at letter in hiest, border 52 a grecisc t at signify lig contemplative. A description of philosophy. Between the letters were steps like a ladder. And by 22 letters were in scion degrees nobly root in mania of ladress. By which degrees men myt, climb fro ni mast, letter 56 to a mast, Philosophers' garments were tattered and torn, and pieces had been carried violently off. Nails horns of some men had coru at clo by violence and by strength. And like man of hem had borne away sich pecs as he mit jeet, In her right hand she bore her books, and in her left a scepter. And for so is for said 60 women bear books in her white hand. And in her left hand sche bear a sceptra. And when sche saw poetical muses approaching about my bed, and inditing words to my weaponges. Sche was a light mood 64 and glowed, we cruel lying. Philosophy bids the muses leave Boethius, as they only increase his sorrow with their sweet venom. Who quod sche ha suffrid approach into is seek, manis communes trumpetis, fall. 4. Of such a place at men clepany theatre. Which only any assuagen not his sorrows. We know 68 remedies. But I wold fed and nourisk hem we sweat venom. For so is beno at we orns and prikinges of talent or affections which at ben knowing fruitfying nor profitable destroy ni 72 corns plenteous of fruits of resin. They may accustom the mind to bear grief, but cannot free it from its malady. For I hold any hurts of men in usage. But any deluere not folk fro malady. But if muses had withdrawn fro me we our flatteries. Any vn conning and vn profitable 76 man as men ben wont to find communely among people. I wold when suffri lass agruously. Philosophy rebukes the muses. Philosophy is deeply grieved, because they have not seduced one of the profane, but one who has been brought up in eleatic and academic studies. For why in sich an profitable man min tongues were knowing and damaged. But withdrawn me 80 is man at ha ben risked in studies or schools of Eleaticis and of Academicis in Greece. She bids the sirens begone. But go now raoi myria maidens which ben sweat till it be at last. And suffers man to be cured and 84 helade by min muses. At is to say by not full sciences. Blushing for shame they pass the threshold. And us his company of muses I blamed cast and roelechea downward to air and skewing by riddenes huskami I past and sorrowfully 88 re-scaffold. And I of whom me syt plonged in terries was dirked so at inemyt, not now what at woman was of so imperial auctorit. Boethius is astonished at the presence of the august dame. I wex labicid and astand. And cast my syt down into 92 And bygone still to abide what sche wold don afterward. O come sche near and set her down vborn eve to rest, corner of my bed. Philosophy expresses her concern for Boethius. And sche by holding my chei at was cast to huey and 96 gruos of weapon. Complained we eyes words at iskall say perturbation of my out. 26 or anted, or anted b, ben 27 ha, ms he not. Nat steadfast 28 in Eman, omitted recorded, recorded 30 saw, ms saw, c saw standing above, ms studying about, c standing about hate my, myn 31 greet, gret 32 brenninge clear sange 33 switch, SWYCH 34 strength it, tide, it mitnat ben empted al 36 wold, wolden nat trowen 37 ugement 38 sometime constrained, constrained shrunk, ms shrunk, see Schronk 39. Like 40 seemed, seemed touched, touched 41 when hef, ms hued, see hef hair, high 42 pierced, perceed syt, sit lokine, lokine 44 craft 45 wun, ms wunnen, see wun owen hons, own hands 46 new, ms new, see new self-declaring skewing, schuinge 47 dirkens, dirknis forleten, forletin 48 despised had, dusked, dusked dirked 49 by smoked, the smoked nearest, nearest 50 thys 51 switch, omitted Greekisch. Signifieth 52 heist, heist 54 by 20 betwixt thys the Rasian, sane 55 nobly root, nobly yukt which 56 myt, klimb, mitten clymbbyn ni mast, netherist 57 new mast, vbrest some 58 hadden koru and cloth strength 59 born, ms born, see born away sich, ori switch 60 geeten for said, foreside 61 ms berea, see bar books, small books hond, hand left hand 62 ms berea, see bar saw say thys. 63 bed enditing 64 amud 65 glowed, glowed ha, ms he, seeth 66 seek, psychis, the strumpetis 67 switch kleppen 68 only any, not not his, natis no, none 69 wold fed, wolden feeden narisk hem, narisin hym 72 any fruit feing, fructefiinge 73 corns plentuos, corn plentuos 74 and any, both omitted 75 not, natifi, ms ifi, see if ye hadden 76 vngunninge 78 poepel 79 switchmin, myn 80 wern. Any wani, ye 81 ha, ms he, seeth schools 82 go, ms go, see goth 83 which at 85 say not full, noteful 86 I blamed, iblamide 87 roeli, rothlia downward 88 redness sorrowfully 89 reskefold, threshold syt, sit 90 dict myt, now, midnat noen 91 wax 92 abasid, arbashed cast down to 93 don, ms done 95 vderest, corner, vderest cornea bed 97 complained, n, de 98 say, cn. Philosophy addresses Boethius. The two demeter. Heu quam precipiti mersa profundu. Alas, how out of drowned in the depth of cares the mind loses its proper clearness. Mandri intinu rowing deptness dull and forlet ihys proper clearness. 100 mintinge to gone into foreign darknesses as oft as hys annoyus bisins wexi we out en mesure. at his dryuen to and fro worldly winds. Man in his freedom knew each region of the sky, the motions of the planets, and was wont to investigate the causes of storms, the nature and properties of the seasons, and the hidden causes of nature. Is man at some time was Fre to whom me hewn was open 104 and known and was wont to gone in hewn like peas. And saw lightness of red sun. And saw stars of cold moon. And which stare in hewn vse wandering recesses flit by deus spres. 108 is man who come had comprehended al is by number. Of accounting in astronomy. And who is he was wont to sesh causes whence sounding winds moen and by seeing smo water of 112 c. And what spirit turn stable hewn. And why steris out of red east. To falle in western wars. And what a tempore lusty hours of first summer season at height and apparel 116 ere we rose in flowers. And who make at plenteous autumn in fulleres flet we huey grapes. And eke his man was wont to tell deus's causes of nature at weren yid. 120 But now, alas, he is constrained to keep his face to the ground. Alas now lie he tide of lyt of hys out. And hys neck is preside we huey Chinese and berea his chere inclined down for greet, wait. And is constrained to look on foul air. 124 101 gone. Goon 102 bisons, bisine sau 10, oat 103 worldly, wordily 104 sometime, whilom 105 gone, goon 106 peas, paths saw lightness, litheness sun, son saw, msu, see saw 107 which 108 recesses, recourses 111 sesh, see consowning, soninge 114 ris out, ariseth ot falle, fallen 115 western 116 first, fyrst 119 eke 120 deuses, dius yid. Ms yid 121 lie, lith tide, emptied 123 adown greet, wait, gret wait 124 loke, foul, looken on the fool. Philosophy enlightens Boethius. The Ig prose. Set medicine in quid tempus. BVT time is now more need of medicine than of complaint. Quod sche of medicine more n of complaint. For so nsche ong tan dying to me ward we ali loking of her ing said. Philosophy addresses Boethius. Art not you he quod sche at some time in orchid we my 128 mylke and foster, d, we my meats were escaped and common to courage of a perfect man. Certis if sich armors at if you self any hadst first cast hem away. Schulden how defended in Syconis 132 at may not be a common. Knowest you me not? Asterisk fall 4b. She fears his silence proceeds from shame rather than from stupidity. Asterisk why art you still? Is it forscum or for Astonage? It were me lure at it were forscum. But it seem me at Astonage ha represti. She finds him, however, in a lethargy, the distemper of a disordered mind. And when 136 sche say me not only still, but we out en office of tongue and el downb. Sche lied her hond soft elive bong my breast and side. Here nis no peril quod sche. He is fallen into a lethargy, which at is a commune 140 seconds to Hertz at ben discaud. He har a light el forten hym self. But certis he skul ly remembern hym self. If so be at he har known me or now. To make his recovery an easy matter, she wipes his eyes, which were darkened by the clouds of mortal things, and dries up his tears. And at he may so done I will wipe a light lhysying. 144 At ben dirkt by e cloud of mortal inges eyes words side sche. And we e lap of her garment blitted in a frownce sche dried, myning at were full of e wars of my weapinges. 148 125, 126 n. Then 127 al said, Sid 128 sometime, Whillamine orchid, msine orchid, scenarist 129 Foster, d. Fostered my, min 130 certis, certsif, yaf 131 sich, switch if cast. C cast 132 away, or Scholden how, Scholden han 133 not be, nat ben knowest ou, knowest o 134 art ou, art how 136 ha, ms he 138 tong, tunj downb, down hond, hand 139 here. Her 140 liturgy which 141 seconds, cycnis 141, 143 ha, ms he 144 done, dune will wipe, wall wipen 146 garment. Garnement 147 dried, dried were, 148 full Boethius recognizes his physician. The 3 Demeter. Tunk me discusser. Us when at her touch dispels the darkness of his soul, just as the heavy vapors, that darken the skies and obscure the sunlight, are chased away by the north wind, causing the return of the hidden day, when the sun smites our wandering sight with his sudden light. Nyt was discussed and chased ori. Darknesses fall from me. And to myning repair ain her first strength. And whitey by ensemble as son is hid when Easter has been clustered. At is to 152 say Wenster has been cleared we clouds by a swift windy at hyt chorus. And at firmament stunned dirked by wet ploungy clouds. And at Easter as not apparent bong hewn. So at Nyt seems sprad 156 bong Euphany windy at hyt Boreas sent out of cows of contour of trace betize Nyt. At is to sane chase it away and discour closed day. Anskin fibus shaken we 160 Sodane lyt and smit we hys bims in meruling ieng. 149 when, 150 myn, min repair, ripped 151 ain, omitted her first, her fyrst 152 hid, ms hid, c hid when, 153 say, sane when, 154 hyt, hate chorus, ms thrust stunt, ms stond, c stunt 157 an, than windy, wind hyt, hit 158 cent, isn't 160 an, than 161 Sodane, Sodane the trials of philosophy and philosophers. The 3 de prose. Hort 1 alita tristitia. 1 ms hank. Ryt so the clouds of sorrow being dispelled, Boethius recollects the features of his physician, whom he discovers to be philosophy. And none or wisi clouds of sorrow dissolute and don ori. I took hewn. And 164 received min d to now face of my physician. So at I set min ieng on her and fastened, my loking. I behold my Norris philosophy, in whose houses I had conused and haunted fro my oue. 168 and I sighed us. He addresses her. O you mistress of alu virtues descended fro serene set. Why art you comen into his solitary place of myn exile? Art you comen for you art mad coupable we me of false, blames. 172 She expresses her concern for him, and tells him that she is willing to share his misfortunes. O quod sche minori sculdi forsake now. And sculdi not party we by commune trauale charge at youest suffered for envy of my name. Certis it not lawful any sitting to philosophy to Latin 176 we out en company we of hym at is innocent. She fears not any accusation, as if it were a new thing. Sculdi and redoute my blame and agreeson as you were by fallen anewing. Qd non. For troist you at philosophy be now allure first assailed 180 in perils by folk of wicked, manias. For before the age of Plato she contended against folly, and by her help Socrates triumphed over an unjust death. How I not striuen we full great strife in olde time by for age of my Plato ein ze fool hardines of folly and same Plato lewing. Hys maestras Socrates 184 deserud, victory of vnritful d in my presence. Of the inheritance of Socrates the rout of Epicureans and Stoics wanted to get a part. Heritage of which Socrates. Heritage is to say doctrine of which Socrates in hys opinion of felicite at clep wellfulness one at people 188 of Epicureans and Stoicians and many or foreseden hem to go rouist euoric man for his part at is to sane. At to euoric of hem wold drawen to defense of his opinion words of Socrates. Philosophy withstood them, whereupon they tore her robe, and, departing with the shreds, imagined that they had got possession of her. EI 192 as in party of her praetadroen me crying and debating eins. Antonin and Torrenten my clothes at I had when we myn hands. And we clouds at I had an erased out of my clothes. EI 196 went an ori winning at I had egan we hemi ua daily. Thus, clothed with her spoils, they deceived many. In which Epicureans and Stoicians. For as much as seemed, some traces and steps of men habit. Folly of men winning o Epicureans 200, asterisk fol. 5. And Stoicians my asterisk familias peruerted. S persequendo, someru error vivict, of gunning, multitude of hem. Philosophy adduces examples of wise men, who had labored under difficulties on account of being her disciples. Is to saying for eic medin philosophres, weren pursued to ed 204 and slain. So yfo uest not know any excellence of Anacogor. Any impoisoning of Socrates. Any torment of Inno for weren, strangers. It mitest you how no any Senectians and Canios 208 and Cerancis of which folk renown is near old and even solemn. Which men knowing Ellis any brout, hem to ed but only for I weren informed of my manias. And see medin most like 212 to studies of wicked folk. And for you oughtest not to wonder you at I in bitter sea of his lich before dry when we tempests blowing about. It is the aim of philosophy to displease the wicked, who are more to be despised than dreaded, for they have no leader. In which tempestes is my most purpose at is to saying to displease 216 to wicked, men. Of which shrews be used noia so great it is to despise. For it nisguend we no leader of resound. But it is roused only by flitting errorfully and lytly. If philosophy is attacked by the wicked, she retires within her fortress, leaving the enemy busy among the useless baggage, and laughing to scorn such hunters of trifles. And if sometime 220 making an ostanest vs assail vs as stranger. Our leader draw to jida hys reiches into hys tour. And ben ongtantif about sarpulas or satchels vn profitable for to taken. But we at ben hay abound psycha 224 fro al tumult and woad noise. Ben stored and enclosed in such a palace. Whider as at shattering or knowing folly any may not attain. We scorn switch ruiners and hunters of foulest, inges. 228 163 nonu the Sora, Sorway 165 now, Noan 166 myn festned, Fascid 170 fro, from 170, 171 art ou, artau 172 mad, ms made, c maked false, false 174 party, parton 176 na, near sitting, sitting 178 an. Thurn 179ing, think qd non, omitted 180 troist ou, Trau esto aller first, older first 181 wicked, wicked 182 strife, strife 183 eins, is foolhardines, foolhardines folly 184 eek 185 deserud, deserud 186 which, the which sane 188 wellfulness. Wellfulness 189 uthra 190 gun uoric 191 sane 2, omitted uoric 194 tonin, red coruan, C coruan 195 wuen, ms1, C wuen 196 raised, arrest 197 gun, ms gon, C gun 198 deli, del 199 mike, mosh seemed, seemed and, or 200 min, myn winning, ms wiving, C winninge 202 aru, thorwicked, wicked vngunning, vngunninge 203 sane at 204 seemedden, seemed pursued, ms persuade, C pursued 205 slain, ms slain, C slain 207, wern 208 mitesto u. How, mitisto han 209 Saransis, Sarans which is, nis 210 old, ms cold, C old 211 brout, brauhut 212 informed, ms vnfoumed, C informide my, minvnlike, vnlyk 213 wicked folk, wicked fool autist, o hootist 214 wanderer, wanderen bitter, bitter 216 displease, displeasen 217 wicked, wicked shrews, shrews 218 noosed, glossed asses in C gret, gret 219, 222 ledder, Ladir 220 flitting, fleetinge lytly, lythly if 221 a nest, is 222 to, Reich chess, to Jadir is Reichesses to 224 hay. He 225 al ben, omitted stored. Warnisted 226 switch at, omitted 227 scorn, skern 228 rowinners, inges, rowiniers and henteres of foulest things the aim of philosophy. The first matter. Quisquis composito. Whoso it be he who hath triumphed over fate, and remained insensible to the changes of fortune, shall not be moved by storms, nor by the fires of Vesuvius, nor by the fiercest thunderbolts. At is clear of virtue sad and well ordinate of viewing. At harput vndefut proud, weirds and loci vpryt born eye of fortune. He may hold hysgevn discomfited. Rage ne manus 232 of camoing or chasing vpudhet fro bottom. Ne skull not mou at man. Ne even stable mountain at hyt Vesuus. At were Chaucer hys broken, Keminis smoking fires. Ne we 236 of onder lyt at is wont to smit he tours ne skull not mu en at man. Fear not the tyrant's rage. Hutu en wretches dreedy tyrants at benwode and felons we out en one strength. He who neither fears nor hopes for anything disarms the tyrant. Hope after knowing any dread not. And 240 so scalto you disarmony ire vilk vnmyty tyrant. He whose heart fails him, yields his arms, and forges his own fetters. But whoso at quaking dread or desiring atness not stable of his RYT. At man at so do ha cast or hys shelled and is removed fro hys place. And 244 endless hym in each any which he may be drawn. 229 clear 230 lewing ha, ms he vnderfoot proud, proud 231 may his chair hold 232 manus, manes is 233 ec 235 hyt, hit vesuus, ms vesinus wirch, right eth 236 broken, broken smoking 237 smitten 238 hutu n, huotothan 239 felons, 1 felonos without any 241 scalto u disarmen, schultau deseruian 243 do, ms do, c doth ha, ms he, seeth cast, ms cast, c cast 244 shelled removed fro, rimwed from 245 which. The which be, Ben Boethius speaks of his troubles. The verth prose. Sentis eni inquit. Effelisto u philosophy seeks to know the malady of Boethius. Quod scheis inges and enteni out in courage. Arto u licon us to harp. 248 y wepisto u y spilisto u teres. Eupho u abidest after help of Ilish. By a discow I woundy. Boethius complains of fortune's unrelenting rage. I at had gated strength in my courage answered, and sighed. And nidit it quod 252. I of rehearsing or of ammonition. And skew it not by hym self scarpens of fortune at Wexwood ains me. Is not she moved, he asks, with the aspect of his prison? Any it nat to see ne face or may near of his place, I presown. His library, his habit, and his countenance are all changed. Is 256 library which at you hadst chosen for ARYT certain sedge to in min house. As you disputest of, we me of sciences of inges touching divinity and touching mankind. Was an 260 myn habit switch as it is now. Was an my face or quasi diceret non. My chere switch as now. When I sout, we secretis of nature. When un formidest my manus and resound of al my ligf. To en sample of ordre 264 is this, he asks, the reward of his fidelity. Ironis of hewn. Is nat is eager down at I refer to whom I how be obeisant. certis ou informadist by emu of Plato is sentence. Plato, De Republic v. says that those commonwealths are most happy that are governed by philosophers, or by those who study to be so. At is to say at communinges or communablites weren 268 blisfully at Hayden studied fully to wisdom guaneden ilkinges. Or ellis fit so by fell at, *fol 5b. Iguernors of communalites studiden in great wisdoms. Philosophers to be politicians. The same Plato urged philosophers to take upon them the management of public affairs, lest it should fall into the hands of unprincipled citizens. O you saidst eke by emu of same 272 Plato at it was a necessary cause wis men to taken and desire guernance of communinges. For at guernaments of commune sites while left in eons of felonious tormentus sictionis skuld not bringe 276 in pestilence and destruction to good folk. Boethius declares that he desired to put in practice, in the management of public affairs, what he had learnt in his retirement. And for I follow in gilc auctority, s Platonis. Desiring to put, fure in execution and in act of commune administration inges at I had learned of 280 among my secret resting whiles. O you and God at put, in autis of wise folk ben knowen we me at knowing brout, me to maestry or dignite, but commune study of all goodens. He sought to do good to all, but became involved in discord with the wicked. And of come 284 it at bitwixen wicked folk and mehan ben gruios discords. At any mitten not be relisted by prayers. Consciousness of integrity made him despise the anger of the most powerful. For is liberty ha freedom of conscience at of more myty folk ha all we ben despised of me for 288 solution of ryt. He opposed Conegastus, and put a stop to the doings of Trigilla. How oft I resisted and withstood ilk man at hyt, Conegastat made all we assort signs proper fortunes of poor feeble folk. How oft I it put of, or cast out 292 hym trigwil pruost of kinges whose boe of wrongs at he had bygon, any, to done and fully performed. How oft I queered and defended by auctorit of me putines perils. He put his authority in peril for the defense of poor folk. At is to say put 296 min auctorit in peril for reached poor folk. At equitis of straungsvn puniskt tormentide all we misseases and gruances out of number. Boethius defends his own conduct. I never deviated, he says, from the path of justice. Nor a man drow me it fro ryt to wrong. When I say 300 fortunes and riches of people of provinces ben harmed by priurowins or by commune tributis or carriages. I felt for those that were wrongfully oppressed. As sorry was I as I at suffered, harm. Glossa. One at Theodoric ekyng of 304 Goths in a dear had hys journeys full of corn and commanded at no man any skuld, buy no corn till his corn were sod and at a dear gruel's price. But I withstood at ordinance and do a commit 308 knowing L is EKYNGHY self. Coempsioin at is to sain communicate or buying to jiderir at were established vborn poepel by switch a mania impositionas whoso bout, a bushel corn he most, EUEE 312 KYNGE fifth part. Textus. I opposed successfully coimption in Campania. When it was in Esau a hungry time ere was established or cried grueus and implitable coempsioin at men saying well it schuld greatly tormentin and endamagen ali pruints of 316 campaign I took strifine z pruost of epritary for commune profit. And EKYNG knowing of it iua commit so at coempsioin ne was not axed ne took effect. I saved Paulinus out of the hands of the hounds of the palace, Palatini canes. Paulin a councillor of Rome Ricis 320 of Ewike Paulini houndis of Palais. At is to say ne officers wold hand you ud by hope and cutis it drow IHYM out of EIOs.s falsibus of hem at Gapidon. I defended Albinus against Cyprian. And forasmuch as pain 324 of accusation are used by foreign skuld not so dainly henten punishin wrongfully Albina councillor of Rome. I put, me in his hates and indignations of accusor Cyprian. Is it not an unitizane 328 at I how purchased greet, discord signs myself. For the love of justice I forfeited all favour at court. But I ought be more astinis allure focat for lieu of ritwisnes.ine reserud, noyan knowing to myself to hem ward of kinges hali.s officers. 332 by which I were more psycha. But arui same accusors accusing I am condemned. The accusers of Boethius. Boethius makes mention of his accusers, Basilius, Apilio, Gaudentius, men who had been commanded to leave the city on account of their many crimes. Of number of which accusors one Basilius at some time was chased out of kinges Syrus, is now compelled 336 in accusing of my name for need of foreign money. Also Apillion and Gaudentius han accused me. Albeit so at Eustis regal had sometime dimmed hem boe to go into exile. For her treacheries and frauds 340 without number. To which judgment I wold not obey. But defended, hem by Syconis of holy houses. Fall. 6. At is to sain fleden into saintuaries. And one is was apperceived to EKYNG. He commanded, 344 but at I voided, city of Rowan by certain day assigned at menskuld merken hem on for Hudwian hoke of iron and chasten hem out of town. Now wotting see me myt, be lined to is 348 cruelt. But, on the day this sentence was to be executed, they accused him, and their testimony against him was accepted. For certis ilk same day was received accusing of my name by ilk, same accusors. what may beside hurto harm my study and my conning deserud us, or else e foresight damnation of me. 352 made at hemritful accusors or no, qd non. Fortune, if not ashamed at this, might at least blush for the baseness of the accusers. Was not fortune ashamed of his? Certes el hadin at fortune ben ashamed, at innocence was accused. It ought, sche how had scum of file of myn accusors. 356 The accusations against Boethius. But exist you in some of what guilt I am accused. Boethius says he is accused of trying to save the Senate, and of having embarrassed an informer against the Senate. Men say that I wold sour ne company of senators, and desirest you to hear in what mania I am accused at I skuld han disturbed 360 accusor to biren lettres, by which he skuld han maked senators guilty ein ze kinges real myest. O mistress, what demesto you of is? Skuld I forsake his blame at ine be no scum to 364 qd non. It is true that he tried to save the Senate, for he has and will have its best interests always at heart. Certis I how wold it? At is to say ne solution of senat. Any iskul noilatan to wilnit. And at I confess and may now. But young tongue of accusor to be destubt sculsis. 368 For skul I clepita philoni an orasin at I how desire solution of ordra of senat. And certis it had ilk same senat done by me aruha decret and higher mentis as you it were a sin 372 or a philoni at is to same to will ne solution of hem, s senatus. Folly cannot change the merit of things. But folly at lieth always to himself may not shown merit of inges. According to Socrates' judgment it is not lawful to hide the truth nor assent to a falsehood. I trow not by judgment of Socrates at it were lawful 376 to me to hide so. Any assent, to leasinges. But certis how so it be of as I put, te. It to jessen or present to judgment of and of wise folk. Of which in early ordinance and so for as mosh 380 as folk at ben to come and after our days scholen knowen it. Boethius determines to transmit an account of his prosecution to posterity. I how put it in scripture and remembrance. For touching lettres falsely maked. By which lettres I am accused to han hooped freedom of 384 Rome. What appertain me to speak a nerve? Boethius says that he could have defeated his accusers had he been allowed the use of their confessions. Of which lettres fraud had been skewed apatly if I had liberty for to han vsed and ben at confession of myn accusors. Whiching in 388 el nedis ha gret strength. For what or freedom may men hopem? But there is now no remains of liberty to be hoped for. Certis I wold at some your freedom myt, be hoped. I wold and how answered by words of a man at hyt, Canius. For when he was 392 accused by Gaius Caesar Germain's son at he, Canius, was knowing and consenting of a conjuration make tines hym. S. Gaius. Is Canius answered, us. If I had, wist it, you hadst not wist it. 396 Boethius complains to philosophy. It is not strange that the wicked should conspire against virtue. In which ing saw we ha not so dulled my wit at I plin only at shrewd, folk apparelen folizines virtues. But I wonder greatly how at I may perform inges at I had, hoped for to 400 done. The will to do ill proceeds from the defects of human nature. For why? To whilom shrewdness at comparaventure of our default. But it is like to a monstre and a merual. It is a marvel how such evil acts can be done under the eye of an omniscient God. How at any present syt of God may ben acute and performed switch 404 inges. As you a felonious man ha conceived in hys outines innocent. For which ing una vi familias not skillfully axed us. If there be a God, whence proceeds evil? If there is none, whence arises good? If God is, whence comen wicked, inges? And if God any is, whence 408 comen good inges? But had it been lawful at felonious folk at now desire any blood and of good men. And eke of senat han wilm to gon destroyen me. Whom I han sane all we battalen 412 and defenden good men and eke senat. It had I not desired of fathers. At is to sane of senators at I scold wiln my destruction. Boethius defends the integrity of his life. You rememberest well as I jesat when I wold 416, fol 6b. Don or sane anying. You I self all we present leadest me. He defended the Senate at Verona. At city of Verona when at ekyng gredi of commune slaughter. Cast hym to transporten vborn ali ordre of senat. Guilt of his real 420 myest of which guilt at Albine was accused. We how great syconis of peril to me defended, senat. He spake only the truth, and did not boast. You wast well at I side so. Any I oriented, me noia in praising of myself. Boasting lessens the pleasure of a self-approving conscience. For 424 all we when any wit rashiu precious renown in orienting hym self of hys workies, he armonisi secre of hys conscience. But now you mayst well seen to what end I am common form in innocence. 428 of his false accusers. But as the reward of his innocence he is made to suffer the punishment due to the blackest crime. I receive pain of false felony in godown of the ray virtue. And what open confession of felony had, eugis so accordant in cruelt. At is to sane as min accusing ha. At or error of 432 mans wit or ellis condition of fortune at is certain to all mortal folk any submitted, some of hem. At is to sain at it any chained, some used to han piety or compassion. Had he been accused of a design to burn temples, massacre priests, he would have been allowed to confront his accusers. For Loi had, been accused 436 at Iwold Brain holy houses. And strangle prestis we wicked sword. Or at I had, great D to L good men algatis e sentence skuld han puniskt me present confessed or connuict. 440 But now this is denied him, and he is prescribed and condemned to death. But now I am removed fro e city of Rome almost fiwe 100,000 pas. I am without en defense damned to proscription and to ed. For e study and bounties at I how done to e senate. But oh well ben 444 ei worry of mercy, as Husione, myt, noia it none of hem ben connuict. Of switch a blame as myn is of switch trespass myn accusors cn full well e dignity. Boethius accused of sorcery. Boethius says that his enemies accused him of sorcery. Which dignite for I wold durken it 448 we meddling of some felony. I biren me on hond and leaden. At I had pollute and defooled my conscience we sacrilege. For cutis of dignite. And certis I self at art planted in me chasedest out 452 sedge of my courage alcutis of mortal inges. Any sacrilege any had, no lu to han a place in me by foreign inying. He affirms that he has always followed the golden maxim of Pythagoras, Greek, hepautheo. For you droopedest a day in myn ears and in my outilk commandment of Pythagoras. 456 At is to sane men sculceruan to God. And not to gods. Any it was no connaught any no need to taken help of foulest spirits. I at you est ordained or set in sich excellence at, you, makest 460 me like to God. And is erwyt clean secret chamber of myn house. His family and friends could clear him from all suspicion of the crime of sorcery. At is to see my wife and company of myn honest friendis. And my use fader as well holy as worry to ben ruorance to ru 464 hyso and dedis. Defenden me of all suspicion of sich blame. But o malice. For I at accusen me taken of philosophy of so great blame. Because he has given himself up to philosophy, his enemies accuse him of using unlawful arts. For I trowen at I how had a finite to malefice or enchantment 468 by cause at I am replenished and fulfilled we tekinges. And informed of manus. And us it suffice not only at ruorance any or alme not. But if at you of ifre will robby blemist 472 women offension. But certis to harms at howe'er betide it is increase of harm. Boethius deplores the popular censure. At e jessinge and usement of mic folk any locan knowing to e, de, certis avinges but only to e uenture 476 of fortune. Most people imagine that only should be judged to be undertaken with prudent foresight which is crowned with success. And usang at only switchinges ben purified of God, which at temporal wellafulness commendi. Glossa. As us at ufawit how prosperite. He is a good man and wary to how at 480 prosperite. The unfortunate lose the good opinion of the world. And whoso haragia sight he is a wicked man. And God half forsake hym. And he is wary to how at a sight. Is the opinion of some folk. Asterisk text begins again. Asterisk and of come at good guessing. First of 484 alling forsake wretches certis it grew me to ink, whitey now eduous sentences at poepulseer of me. And us mosh I see at last charge of contrarious fortune is. Asterisk fall. 7. Asterisk at one e blame is 488 laid vborn a kaitif. Men winnen at he hard is erud at he suffer. Boethius laments the loss of his dignities and reputation. And I atom put ori from good men and despoiled from dignities and defooled of my name by guessing how suffered torment for my good deadies. 492 The wicked, he says, sin with impunity, while the innocent are deprived of security, protection, and defense. Certis me seem at isee felonous quins of wicked men abounden in